Sorry on the delay. I got distracted by the fact that there's a goddamn plug-in. I don't know how to fuck up there on the wall. I don't know why. I don't have anything plugged into it. What would I plug in there? A nightlight? Can't charge my phone on there. The phone would fall down. What would you even... Maybe like an air freshener, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, that's not why I want to do the walk-on intro in this one. Hello there, I'm Scotty. You're not. So this is one I wanted to do. Tru Confessions is the movie I'm talking about today. It's one that I passed on back in the day, and this was in the heyday. It was 2002. This was in the heyday of the DComs, that I was watching still. A teenager, I was watching everything. And I saw the trailer for this one, or whatever, the TV spot, whatever they call them. And I was just like, this doesn't look like something I'd be interested in. It wasn't like the other ones. It wasn't like Xenon or Brink or Jumping Ship or those kind of movies where something goofy has happened. It was a very serious tone, and it is a very serious tone. It's based on a book. One of the very few DComs that do that. So, yeah, I passed on it. And then, the eponymous year of 2016 came upon me. They were doing that DCom marathon. All the DComs, all 100 are going to be playing, leading up to the 100th one, Adventures in Babysitting, which, like I said, shouldn't count because it's a remake, but anyway. They did a Freaky Friday remake as well. They made it a musical for some reason. But anyway, I will not be talking about either of those. But anyway, so, in one of those nights where I couldn't get to sleep, so I'm just laying there watching the DComs playing, and I get into this one. And I realize it's not as bad. Like, it's more interesting than I thought it would be. I didn't think it was going to be bad. I just thought it was not my cup of tea. And I will say that this is not your typical DCom. You got a Disney Channel star, which is why it's in this lineup I'm doing, Shia LaBeouf. But this is not just the Disney. You got Disney, the Nickelodeon, Power Ranger. All three of those elements coming together. Which would be cool if it was a Disney Nickelodeon combination film with Power Rangers. Like, imagine if Hannah Montana and Drake and Josh teamed up with one of the Power Rangers or something. That's not what it is. That's not what it is. It's a little bit, But let me sit down and talk about this. I mean, of course, about the cast. The cast that includes Clara Bryant from the Under Wraps, the original one, the good one, by the way, as the main character of Tru. And she's dealing with the fact that she has a twin brother who is mentally handicapped. Now, I've heard people talk about this being autism, and the way they explain it, I don't think so. But I can see how this movie would help you deal with or live with someone with autism, because they're... Even in my experience with people who are autistic, I've never seen autistic people behave like this. The way they explain it is that when he was in the womb, he didn't get enough oxygen to the brain. So that messed with his head. It messed with his brain. It messed with him. So, I don't know if that's how you get autism. And I'm not exactly sure on that. But, I don't know. I guess there are certain elements, like growing up, growing up, my thing was I stick to the plan, a routine. That routine got interrupted, it would mess me up, make me freak out. I'm better at it nowadays, but it does kind of mess up. Like today, my day off, not supposed to be my day off, but it is my day off, and I deal with that. But also, it's not just the day off because I want to lay down, I want to relax, No, I have a meeting at work at 1:30. So now I have to put in my head, you can't just lay around and relax and watch TV. You gotta leave at 1 o'clock to walk to work because it's like right there. Well, I don't think it'll take me a whole half hour, but I'm a slow ass walker and I'm fat, so then I gotta adjust myself with that, and when certain things happen, we're like, oh, we're not gonna have your son, we're not gonna have William, my son William, because he's got a football game on Friday, so I gotta adjust myself for that. It's that sort of thing. I've gotten better at it. When I was a kid, couldn't do that. It was so bad. If one little thing got changed, I would freak out. I couldn't even. Other thing I had, if I got a candy bar, this is a great example. If I got a candy bar, it could not be broken at all. It had to be completely one. I can break it later after I've eaten it. I've gotten over it right away by now, but I'm still a little picky sometimes when I don't like, yeah. And imagine when you get to Almond Joys and stuff, and I'm like, they're broken. No, they're not broken. It's supposed to be that way. They had to tell me that. But my grandpa would come along, like, Butterfingers. Butterfingers was my shit. Okay, so we get to Butterfingers, and I bring it in. I sit on the counter. My grandpa would come and go, smash it, and I go to get it, and it'd be broken, and I'd freak out. My grandma would have to go get another Butterfinger from the candy drawer and bring it and give it to me. And she'd yell at him, you stop doing that! Because it messes with me. But I got better at it, Because I can see it, maybe it's supposed to be autism. And this is 2002. This is close. I think I already knew. I think it was 99. I was in 6th grade. So I think I already knew I had it, but it was around then. So I think maybe if I watched it back then, and maybe I would have connected with this movie more. I don't know if it's supposed to be autism, but I feel like it's something like that. And credit to Shia LaBeouf. All right, credit to Shia LaBeouf. And no, I won't pronounce it the right way. That's how I pronounce it. He is good in this. He portrays that character. Some people would find him annoying, and I get that. Some people like that are annoying, but you have to tolerate it. You have to go with it. You can't just, But that's why it's a good performance, because there are people like that. I've met them. I know them. So it's like, yes, he is doing a great job. Then you have the other side of this, which is Clara Bryant's character, Tru, where she's also dealing with this, and she's the normal one in this that is just trying to, live her life and everything. And then there's the parents. Mary Winningham from St. Elmo's Fire plays the mom. I was like, I know her. How do I know her? And I looked at her, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Really? You got a major actress here. She's been in movies in the 80s, and she's playing the mom. Then the dad walks in, and I go, I know him from somewhere. And I'm like, oh, that's right. I think he's a mailman in this. And then Dad's a doctor. I'm like, a doctor? Okay, now what do I know him as a mailman? Turns out, and this is a Nickelodeon connection, he was the dad on 100 Deeds for Eddie McDowd, where he was a mailman. Yes. Yeah. And then Tru has this crush on a boy. Well, first of all, no. One of her friends is the Kevin Duhaney, the Blue Power Ranger from Dino Thunder. I'm like, and it's not the first time a Power Ranger has shown up in a DCOM. Okay? Blue Dino Thunder Ranger in this one. I'm Scottish! The Blue RPM Ranger was in You Wish. Rose McIver, the yellow RPM Ranger, was in Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off. And we have not got to Wendy Wu Homecoming Warrior, but that feels like it should be set in the Power Rangers universe. You got James Galen. I think a couple other actors are in there. Maybe I'll do that one next. Scott Brenda's song. So maybe I'll do that one next. That one's got Power Rangers connections, and it feels like it could be a Power Rangers movie. We'll get to that. I have to get to it this year. I have to. But yeah, so yeah, and then they show this boy that Tru has a crush on, and it's Yanni Gelman from the Lizzie McGuire movie. I went, you're shitting me, really? The same year or the year before, he would be, so he's 16 here. The year before, he would be in the Lizzie McGuire movie, and he's technically the villain because like he's this kid Tru has a crush on, and then later it's revealed he's an asshole who is treating her brother like shit because he's mentally handicapped. He says, I won't say the word, but he's like, oh, I thought it was be nice to an R-word week. Like, oh, I gave him a hat. I thought it was be nice to an R-word week. And he's like, and why would I want it anyway? We all took turns spitting in the hat. And I just went, okay, now you're inconsistent. Because there's someone who is quite similar to Eddie. As soon as he put the hat on, he'd feel it. Because, speaking of someone who's dealt with it, if something is just a little bit off about something, if it feels off, if something's wet, anything like that, no. If he put it on and felt the wetness, he would have freaked out, threw the hat down. No, it'd have been a whole thing. Because that's what I would have done. That's what happened to me. Are you kidding me? I can't. My socks get wet, I gotta change them right away. I'm doing dishes, my shirt gets wet, gotta take it off. Don't need to change it, because I live alone. Cry for Scotty. I live alone, so I can just do the dishes with my top off. But, like, if I get wet, I have to change them right away. It's that thing. It's a thing that you have. It's sort of like an OCD, but it's something, you know. So if you have that sort of thing, you got a little bit of that. There's a tiny little bit on the spectrum. So even if you think you're the most normal person in the world, but the OCDs, that puts you sort of on the spectrum. Very light side, but it puts you in there. Because I've got it, my son's like that, my mom is like that, and she's never been diagnosed with autism. My sister, very OCD with stuff like that, but she's never been diagnosed. My brother, also similar, but he's never been diagnosed. Technically, my son hasn't been diagnosed, but I know. Trust me, he is. But like, yeah. So I'm just saying that's the one thing that was kind of that he'd put the hat on and not feel the spit in there. Unless they, well, I don't know what the purpose would be if they spit in it, they waited for it to dry, then give it to him, because it wouldn't, you know. But she rightfully pushes him over the bridge. He falls over him like he did the Shia LaBeouf in the Even Stevens movie where he flopped over the thing, but he fell in the water this time instead of just disappearing into nowhere. Shia LaBeouf, whatever. And you have the parents. Like I said, Mary Whittingham plays the mom. The guy for 100 Days Enemy Down plays the dad. And they show opposite sides of the situation with these parents. The mom is too coddling and too protective of Eddie. The other side, the dad is too much of an asshole, too strict, too opposite of coddling type of situation where he's just mad about everything. He doesn't understand the situation. And then you have the mom who is way too coddled, where he is like, I'm not saying he's doing anything wrong, but it's getting to the point where he does something, he doesn't understand what he's doing is wrong, so the mom doesn't do anything because she knows that Eddie doesn't understand. Then you have Tru, who's like, you know, like, Mom, you have to do something. And I'm kind of in the middle on this. I understand the mom's point of view, but I also understand her point of view. Where it's like, yes, I understand that Eddie doesn't understand that it's bad. But he won't understand that it's bad if you don't tell him and help him to understand. You can't just coddle him and be like, oh, it's okay. It's not okay. You need to read, you need to get it through his head that something is wrong. You can't just, because he has disability, you can't just baby him. That's not, you need to, I'm not saying be like the dad where you're an asshole, but be somewhere in the middle where you're understanding, you're generous to them, but you have to also try to help them understand. Do you know what I mean? I sound like a psychiatrist doing this. I'm not. I'm not a shrink. I'm not even smart. But I sound like a psychiatrist doing it because I have experience working with people with disability and being a person with disability. So I understand this whole movie. This movie got to me in a way I don't know. And then we get the whole meaning of the name Tru Confessions. She's a filmmaker. She wants to do a documentary, and her doing this documentary makes more sense than Cadet Kelly. I had to look to remember one because she actually goes through with the documentary and not stop half the way through because she switches schools, but still narrates for some reason. No, she narrates this, and she's filming this documentary. It's not for school, but it's for a contest, which is what they should have did with Cadet Kelly because it would have made more sense. Came out the same year, by the way, and because she wants to be on TV. That's the whole thing. We keep having these, I don't think it's necessary, but flashes to it's like a sitcom or something. I don't think we needed those, but okay, sure. Now her friend makes nothing like him. It's like, oh, she won't stop show. She's the star of her own sitcom, and we see flashes of her in a sitcom version of her life, or whatever. And she films this documentary, and there's, all this stuff and everything. There's points where like she gets mad at her brother, but then she also understands and has fun. There's a scene that really works where Eddie, that's Shia's character, by the way. Eddie is pretending to be a doctor, like his dad, and he's got the doctor tools, and he's got a watermelon, brain surgery, got to do brain surgery, and they're laughing and giggling. And then the dad comes in, and he gets all mad and pissed off, and he's yelling at him because those are his father's tools, and they're old, and he doesn't want them playing. I thought those were touch him, blah, 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 blah. Instead of being more calm with him, he just freaks out on him. So, of course, with someone with disability, they don't understand. Not right away. You got to talk calmly and help them understand. You come in there yelling at them, it's just going to make them break down. I've had that experience. It's happened to me. So you have to kind of talk with him. He comes in yelling full blast, and Eddie breaks down. So, and then it's like, oh, like he acts like it's a chore to his son. But I will point out, because the Magical Rewind podcast that Will and Sabrina, they pointed out, this is a bad decom dad. The parents, like, there's bad decom parents. This is a bad decom dad. The mom is in the middle for me. But but I see what they mean about this being a bad decom dad. And I don't think inherently he is necessarily bad. I just think, especially where they go with this character towards the end, I think it's a character journey for this character to kind of learn how to connect with his son. I almost said deal, but you don't want to say deal. Connect with his son. And that actually eventually leads to when Tru she wins the contest, and she gets her thing on TV, and of course the dad's always busy. That's because he's a doctor. Which, again, I kind of understand that. She plays it off like, oh, he's always so busy. He's a doctor. What are you going to do? But then he's like, oh, I got the surgery I got to do. But he just kind of stands there and watches the thing. And I'm like, didn't he have surgery? Because he's just standing there watching it. And he's smiling, he's laughing. And the documentary thing is pretty cool. I'm just like, and he's sitting there watching it. I'm like, didn't he have surgery? And that way he didn't go home. But he's standing there watching the whole thing. I don't know. But then he notices something. And he does, So there's this weird thing. Like, she's constantly arguing with her mother. There's this whole subplot where she's talking to someone online named Dee Dee. Which, if you've seen Megan is Missing, if you've seen it and you understand, don't do that. But also, if you haven't seen it, don't watch it. Don't. Unless you get the itch. Just don't. Online stuff can be very... But like, she's like, oh, I know you think it could be some 35-year-old fat man living in his mom's basement or something like that. And it turns out it's the mom. And it's like, but she couldn't communicate with her daughter in person. She had to do it. Because later she says the same kind of little catchphrase thing that Dee Dee said. And like, I was ruined on this twist because I looked at the credits and it said the mom's name was something Dee Dee last name. Judy Dee Dee last name. And she's like, oh, I've been talking to this new person called Dee Dee. I'm like, isn't that the mom? And then it built up to be a twist. I'm like, oh, I wasn't supposed to know that. Maybe I shouldn't look at the credits then. Oops. But yeah, there's this scene where like she won and she's like hugging her mom and then she pulls away and she's like, if all the kids at school make fun of me for this, it's your fault. And then she runs away. I'm like, what the hell did that come from? Because I got up to use the bathroom and I heard that and I was just like, where the hell did that come from? What? Is she secretly bipolar? Is that the problem? The hell? Maybe she's got problems. You know? What? Oh, she is 17, so maybe time of the month. Who knows? Anyway, teenage hormones. Anyway, so she gets all in there. You know, she gets to school and she's afraid everyone's going to make fun of her. But everyone is all nice to her, except for Yanni Gelman, who's just standing there going, and he turns around. I would have liked if his character got some, you know, closure where he's like, you know what? I saw your show. I'm sorry how I treated you and how I treated your brother. No, they just make him like, you know. But her friends were there watching it with her. But they're like, hey, and everything was all happy. And she goes home and and she talks to her dad. And Dad's like, you know, I saw your show last night and it's very good. But I'm afraid that people watching will get the impression that you don't really have a dad. And she goes, well, if I included all the footage of you that I had, I was afraid to be mad at me. He goes, no, how am I going to be mad at you? She's like, well, he's like, what? Just show me. And every single bit of footage of the father is him yelling at Eddie. And you're watching this, and you're seeing this man break down when he realizes how he's been treating his own son. That wasn't a laugh, by the way. When I started to tear up, I do it. So I wasn't laughing. And you see how he, you know, and he just to see, you know, sometimes you don't know what you're doing until you see it for yourself, you know. It's one of those things. I've seen it in other shows and movies and stuff where it's like they don't know, and then they see this and it's like, oh. And maybe I would have included, I guess they needed to run out the runtime maybe. But like maybe you could have included one scene that's in there or something, I don't know. I swear this has been like a movie before where it's like someone was recording and they caught the footage of something. I don't remember what it was, but yeah, so now he's gonna try to understand his son and everything. I think he apologizes and everything. It gets a little rough because they show it in the end where he's trying to build a house of cards and then he messes it up and he yells and then he gets upset but then he hugs him. You know, so he's trying, right? Best you could do is try and go for it, right? Better than not doing anything. But yeah, yeah, this movie kind of hit me in a way I didn't think it was going to. You know, like it's one of the more serious ones, and as someone he was dealt with a disability, I understand this. You know. But I am also an older sibling who has dealt with a younger brother who got away with everything, but that was because his father preferred him over, you know, his actual child over us, so he could do no wrong in his eyes. Though, I don't think I needed to hit my brother in response, but I had anger issues, which I don't have much anymore. I've gotten over them mostly. You just see me hitting the table. But yeah, my brother would deliberately piss me off, so because he knew that I would end up pushing him or something, and I get in trouble for it because he knew, you know. But that's not what Eddie is. Eddie just doesn't understand. So, I see both situations. I see Eddie's side, but I also see the side of the older sister, whose younger sibling gets favored over her. And it's not that she wants favoritism, it's far from it. She wants to be treated equally. And Eddie also wants to be equal. He wants them to be twins. They're twins. I don't know what the question's ever asked as to why Eddie has the issue and she doesn't. Is it that she got more of the oxygen than he did, and that's why? I'm not a twin, so I wouldn't know. I don't know. I will say this is pretty good. This is something. Check it out. It's on Disney Plus. Check it out. If you don't understand people with disabilities, this is a good movie to watch because I think it'll help you understand a little bit more. Like if you're like Yanni Gelman, or if you're like the dad who just doesn't understand, watch the movie, maybe you understand it. So what are your thoughts on Tru Confessions? I'm going to comment below, share, subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.